Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas. What makes you happy? Sometimes making money makes you happy. And if you think this is restricted to America, probably not. Even when you are in India, making money makes you happy. Even when you are in Australia, Japan, Korea, wherever you are, there is a special relationship that we share with money. But is there any common element? Is there any common current in the way we relate to money? Uh, we will learn from someone who has addressed international or rather global conference of people trying to understand more about the financial aspect of life. I have the pleasure of welcoming as well as clapping for this gentleman, Paresh Shah. Namaste, welcome.
Namaskar, Ashokji. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
So we rarely get a chance to talk about your achievements and not getting into all the details. But there is something MRDT and there that is a very
MDRT, sir.
MDRT. Sorry, sir. So what is MDRT? This is a very small number group of people there, right?
Yeah, so many years ago in the 1920s, there was a group of actually 1927, a group of insurance professionals got together, and at that time they were selling base amount of life insurance. That means the amount of money the insurance company will pay when a person passes away. That amount of $1 million per year, which at that time was very high because policies were very small, 5,000, $10,000 policies. Huge. 5,000 was pretty good, big amount. So these people were selling about $1 million a year, and there were about 27 of them, and they got together to exchange ideas and how to do well in life. That organization, over a period of time, set a standard that you need to produce a certain amount, or you need to do certain amount of business to be able to qualify, and that kept on increasing. But the name still remained $1 million Roundtable. Today, it has 90,000 members worldwide, and it's an organization that serves the entire financial planning and financial advisor community of the world. So, in order to become a member, you have to have a certain amount of work that you do, a certain amount of business that you do. And then you qualify, you become a member, and you become a part of this group of people who strive to do better.
Wonderful. So this, from a layman's point of view, it's like a very elite club, if I may say. It's like a prestigious club. Like very few people are members, and here you have to earn that membership through your work, uh, which takes you to different places, including in recent past this MDRT Global Conference. Very colorful. Like, seems like it is a set of a film, a Bollywood film. How was it? And talk to me about your experience of being a part of this conference.
So I've been a member of MDRT for 17 years. I have been attending all their conferences and meetings. Since the last several years, they also have an additional conference in Asia, which is known as the Global Conference, which is attended also by an international set of community. And so I've been attending all the meetings, and this time I got an opportunity to speak to the entire audience in what is known as the main platform of MDRT. And there, me and a gentleman from Hong Kong, as you see on the screen, we both of us shared our ideas in front of 4,100 people. So probably the largest audience I've ever spoken to. Very, very exciting and very personally fulfilling and satisfying.
So I think I found it exciting also, and I requested you to sort of share some of the questions that came to me, and one of them was, since you are based here in America, and there are certain ways in which people work with their money, which again is guided by the laws of the land as well as the practices that are a part of this part of the world. So when you go to a conference like this, where you have people from different countries who are participating, what is the common thread or common way in which you would what you are saying would be relatable for someone coming from Korea or China or whatever?
Yeah, it's quite surprising when you look at it, Ashokji. At the end of the day, every human being wants to attain in life. And attainment means that you seek to get certain levels in your life, whether it's professionally or personally. But it also means the acquisition of certain goods and items and things like that. So what is that? That at the end of the day is money, is currency, which you trade in to get those things that you desire to own. You may desire to own your own home. You may desire to own a boat. You may desire to own an aeroplane, I mean, a jet, So whatever you desire to own, if you have the money, you exchange it for that. So that's what I call your aims, desires, ambitions, whatever you call it, and money can be used to fulfill some of those. Now, the process around money is also pretty similar. It means you earn money. First of all, you create your own capacity to earn money by your education and your training and all of that. Then, after that, once you made the money, then you need to know how to save the money. You save the money, then you have to grow the money, and then you can exchange it for whatever you desire. This is very universal in nature. And some of the challenges around saving, around budgeting, are very common universally. So, uh, in that manner, financial planning and and financial advisors' work finds a lot of common threads across the entire universe. And so it's multifold, Ashokji. If I may take one more minute to answer this
Please,
question,
please.
that is that on one hand, the work that financial advisors do for their community, for their clients, the problems which clients have are similar universally, and the type of work that advisors have to do in order to serve their clients, there's a lot of commonality in that also universally. There are some specifics that change from place to place depending on culture, laws, etc. As an example, you find that America, debt is a very common thing, while in Asia, debt at times in many countries is frowned upon. So, these are culturally different things, but at the end of the day, there are so many commonalities that working with advisors worldwide, you share common bonds with them about what challenges they are facing and what their clients are facing and how those are being addressed.
So, if I may go deep slightly, and as a speaker, you want to add value to your audience, and here you have like 4,000 plus people from different countries. So, you want to make sure that you give something of value to them to address this. If I use the term challenge, how did you prepare, considering that these are the people coming from different cultural background, and as you were telling me that uh, this was being translated into different languages. So here are people who don't understand English, but they are there to listen to you, and you want to be of service for them. So how did you address this?
Ashokji, take a US dollar bill and show it in any part of the world. Most people will recognize it and take it. So they will understand that that thing has a value. So money has a value, currency has a value, and people have value in that. So what fortunately for a conference of this size, they have a team of people who will help you in crafting your message. You submit the entries about what you want to speak about. But then the team that you saw in the picture, you saw with a bunch of me on the stage, that entire team, the other one actually, Ashokji, this one, yes. So this team is what we call the team that helped me prepare for my meeting. And what we kind of sat down and brainstormed through is what are three, four of the common issues that advisors face with respect to their clients. And those we then kind of found that in. There are many issues, but what are the issues that where I could give them information that was important? And once we had crafted those narratives around those messages, then we were able to create a session that was very powerful in nature. So, Ashokji, the whole central point behind doing an exercise like this is to empower advisors by sharing to do better with clients. And what that does universally is it creates advisors who want to give their client better advice, serve them more, and in turn make a financially stronger society.
So, talking about financially stronger society, and of course, the field that we are talking about, whether you are talking about politics or geopolitics or not, but it is somewhere hanging at the backdrop of when you are talking about major financial decisions, because the policies would change and there would be impact of the inter-country relationships also sometimes. So, of course, as a financial professional, you are not supposed to have the knowledge of the way politics of the particular country as well as inter relationships between different countries are functioning. But as we speak right now, there is disturbance, or rather, let's use the word war happening between Ukraine and Russia, and then there is Israel. And so, how, as a financial professional, you look at these major events which are affecting not just one or two countries, but the global economy is having its impact. Does that also come into the focus of financial professionals?
It does and it does not also. So let's look at it in both ways. We talk about these issues that are affecting globally and they are very challenging. They're affecting a significant number of people. And yet, that there are more than 99.9% or 99.99% besides those people who are affected who still are going out every day, doing their regular work, generating money, and living on the fact that they want to continue to build their own lives and those of their children and for their own communities. So, if we focus on those and we continue to serve them well, then we kind of, in a way, go past these pictures, because I find that financially strong communities are very are more are less inclined to be at war with each other. If they're financially stable to two countries, they'll usually their population is not so inclined to go and fight. But when there is one place which is not so financially strong or feels some principle, there might be these kind of constant conflicts taking place. I'm not going into the reason for conflicts. I feel that the language of money, as this conversation says, is universal, and it needs to be addressed in that tone by the people who are functioning in this place. So we need to separate out the factors that are news oriented and that are not news oriented. You go every day, you earn money, you have to buy your bread, butter, you have to entertain yourself, you have to do things, you have to make a budget. If you have a desire to retire at some point, you have to save your money. All of those things are part of the cycle. So those are not affect whether there's war or not. You need to do those things. You know, whether there's war in Ukraine, the average American has to go out and do these things. So that's one aspect. But then, what is that war causing a shortage of? Ukraine was at one time the largest supplier of lithium, which is the biggest component of battery manufacture. So there came a point when suddenly batteries and entire the world which relies on batteries, the EV world, electric vehicle and electric um, machine world, was suddenly having a lot of challenges. So those kind of things do have a global effect, And at the same time, we should be very cognizant that there is a lot many other things that are not affected, and we should try to take care of those things.
So taking care of those things which are not affected by such unfortunate things which are byproduct of war. Um, Yet, uh, going back to the concerns that people have about uncertainty in their life, which sometimes is caused by these kind of events, but even otherwise, on day-to-day basis, we all of us are surrounded by some sort of uncertainty, whether you recognize it or not. And as a financial professional, you are aware that a family who is preparing for its future, they may come across some eventuality for XYZ reason. And in order to address that, the plan or the advice that you will have will also have to take into account the big picture of the country. And so I think you may probably not totally keep this cloud away from your advice.
It does not, Akshuji, you're absolutely right. As an example, I'm talking about many years ago, okay, not today, but many years ago. Most of the people in Asian countries lived in a home that they own, and that home was the generational home. So, generation after generation would live in that home. And now, if you ever became in a position where you sought work, went to another place, lived in a rental home also, you did have that peace of mind that there was a owned home where you could go back to. Now, in Western society, that does not exist because at the age of 18, the child leaves home, and more or less after that, they're on their own. So they have to come up with money, whether through their parents' income or whether through their own income, to get their own dwelling, and then eventually to buy their own dwelling if they feel like, or just pay the money to rent it. Now, if they don't go out and earn money to be able to pay for this, then they're in trouble. And what are the reasons that they may not have be able to earn money? They may not be able to earn money because of job loss, because of sickness or injury, because of passing away, health. One of the spouses passes away. These days, most households depend on two incomes in order to manage their day-to-day expenses. So, when we look at those factors, in fact, you know, protection first is one of the fundamental philosophies of financial planning. You protect for the uncertainties first, because let us say that you need, I'm just taking a number, let's say you need $1 million before you retire in savings. Okay, let's just take that number. Let's not go into whether that's a correct number, right number, wrong number. Let's say you need a million and you have 30 years to accumulate. You will start on your journey. Each month you will start saving money and you will try to accumulate that $1 million. The problem is, what are these challenges that I talked about? What if any of those happens along the way? So before you begin your savings also towards your goal, you should protect for the uncertainty. So that's the job of the financial advisor, to make people aware of these uncertainties, to plan for the uncertainties, and then to ensure that money is available for saving, so that if those uncertainties don't happen and you reach the retirement point, you have money for yourself, or maybe for college education, or for whatever goals that you need money for.
So, as we are talking about universal language of money, and I think the global village idea or Vasudeva Kutumbakam that we are seeing happening in our world, thanks to digital technology also, and there is more transparency and there is more movement. If you look at people coming from India to America, the number that it was has grown very much now, and many families have their footprints in India as well as in America. So, as a financial professional, probably there are many families who have some of their assets in India and they have certain savings there, etc., and some here, etc. So is it more complex role that you need to play, considering that your advice is for someone who has his financial concerns spread over either India, America, or maybe some other countries also?
Ashokji, great question. We restrict ourselves to our specialization, which is how you manage your money and your assets in the US. We will take into account the global wealth in terms of planning, but we as advisors would not necessarily be able to guide a person on how to manage their investment in India. So we have come up with another solution because of MDRT and because of my association with this international group. I am able to find advisors in different countries who know the local laws, who have an understanding, and collaborate with them to create the optimal environment for investment for my client. So specifics I cannot go into because I am not trained and qualified for it, and I don't have the license to deal with that. But I can collaborate with somebody who will be able to do that work. And therefore, the global village can be brought to everyone's doorstep as needed.
Wonderful. So once again, I repeat, here is the gentleman who has been a part of this special club MDRT for almost 17 years. You don't look 17. I say that with smiles, so you understand. You do look 17, sir. So now, moving toward the other side, when we are talking about universal language of money, it is about learning each other also. And what is it that when you were there as a speaker this time, probably you had a different experience and something additional that became a part of your learning through this participation.
I'll give you that answer in multiple parts, Ashokji, because think about a conference which is 3 days and I'm speaking only for 20 minutes or so. So effectively, I am sharing, and I guess that sharing becomes a very important achievement for me. But at the same time, across the remaining period of time, there are exceptional speakers and exceptional idea share also happening. So it's like you talk, and then you go back to your chair and you open your notebook and start taking notes again. From all the other good speakers.
So,
So
yeah, sorry, allow me to add. Any any speaker who you personally felt was very appealing to you, maybe he made certain points, or maybe his style, her style was something that has stayed with you.
that's a great question because we had a gentleman. So this is a global conference, so they have all international speakers also. The country of New Zealand is known for its sport rugby, and the New Zealand team is known as the national team is known as the All Blacks. So the coach of the All Blacks for the last many years, who's now retired, came to speak to us. And he talked about building of the organization and managing the moment. And he talked about how you have to focus on, everyone talks about goals and motivation. But you also need, when you want to perform at the highest level, you need to also to understand structures. That means that when a situation happens in that moment of high stress, how do you handle it? What are the steps you take in your mind to sort out those problems? So that speaker, that was just one part of his 20-minute talk, but I was very, very impressed. By the way, that coach has led New Zealand to two World Cup victories uh, in the field of rugby, and twice they've lost in the finals, both times to South Africa. So he's taken the team to top level. So what he was talking about was very good, and it was a great experience. So when you ask which one speaker really moved me, many speakers were great, but this one guy was really exceptional for me.
And as we move towards the concluding part of our conversation, Parisi, once again, I want to congratulate you
Thank you.
for realizing your long cherished dream of being there, and you have helped many people in realizing their financial goals as well as addressing their concerns. In a Many times people do seek advice, but they don't follow through. They are not convinced to follow through as is being told by any expert. Whether it's a doctor, they'll say, "Okay, he said it," but I mean, so how do you handle that? Is it disappointing? Because let's say in one meeting you said to act out something, and then second or third meeting you realize that they haven't actually given due respect to the advice given earlier, and because of that they are facing this situation which was avoidable. So when you come across such situations, how do you address them?
Very early in life, I had some lessons around that, and one of the speakers at one of the previous MDRTs many years ago talked about controlling the controllables. So when you, Ashokji, say you want to reach out to me, your thought goes, let's reach out to Paresh. You can control picking up the phone and dialing my number. You cannot control whether I'll pick up the phone or not. You want to have a 10-minute conversation. You have carved out the 10 minutes. But you cannot control whether I'll be able to give you the 10 minutes or not. And you cannot control, you want to talk about a certain topic which is important to you, but I may not be in the right frame of mind or have the right information to give you that. So rather than trying to focus on the responses and the reactions and the end results, focus on what you can control. And if you focus on that on a regular basis, in whatever you do, then you will be able to get results. Because on a daily basis, you're just focusing on getting your job thoroughly done, and things around you in a certain proportion fall into place.
Wonderful. Interestingly, coming from a financial professional's point of view, what you said also reminds me very frequently simplified version of Bhagavad Gita is कर्म करो फल की इच्छा मत करो control the controllables बाकी का जो होगा सो होगा. So
Exactly.
yeah,
It is very true. It is very parallel. It is a very parallel statement to that आपका कर्म कंट्रोल कर सकते हो, फिर आप दूसरे को भी नहीं कंट्रोल कर सकते हो और आप उसका फल भी कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते हो. That's
सो
very
आई
true.
कैन नॉट कंट्रोल कि इस पूरी बातचीत से आपको कितना फायदा हुआ होगा, बट हमने अपनी तरफ से पूरी कोशिश की कि कुछ वैल्यू एडिशन हो, परेश जी की उपस्थिति का लाभ हम सबको मिले. एंड आई अप्रिशिएट यू जनरसली शेयरिंग दिस वंडरफुल exciting experience of being a part of this group with this MDRT conference, which was organized at Dubai, I believe, correct?
Dubai, that is right. This time it
Very,
was in Dubai, yes.
very nice. So thank you very much once again with lots of good wishes for you as well as for our viewers. This is
Thank
Ashok
you,
Vyas.
Ashokji, for the opportunity to relive and share my wonderful moment last few days ago.
Namaste.